Hi guys. So this video is from the other day. I was doing a class with a student. She's a private student, and we were talking about things that have defects, that have problems, right? Sometimes you buy something, it has an imperfection, and you have to describe it. Sometimes it's, clothes or furniture or some device, some technological thing, or maybe it's food. And this is how we do class with the private students and also with the group students. I encourage the student to think a little bit before giving them the response. I need them to think of the possible vocabulary. I want to know what they're thinking, and we develop vocabulary together, and then we train it later. So this is a video that shows that process, but also here I'm going to include the list of words for imperfections with your products, right? Your clothing or your furniture or your technology or your food, right? So enjoy. All right. So what are some things that you can complain about? There's always something. There's always something to complain about, but specifically, about products and services. What do people complain about?
Mhm.
Can you give me a list?
It's like complain is like como a quejarse.
Yeah. Complain is to tell someone about how unhappy they are with something or someone. Like, for example, I was at the movie theater and some kids were making lots of noise. I complained to the theater manager, right? I don't know. Maybe you could do that. Or usually, like, it's a product, like you buy a shirt, or I don't know, you buy something online, but like some sort of service or something. So, what do people complain about? What types of things?
Maybe when we buy things in bad condition.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
or
So
the people.
when things have a like a defect, right? A defect like an imperfection. Can you read that for me? Right, when things have a defect.
When they have a defect.
Yeah, when things have a
Defect
defect.
and imperfection.
Yeah, and an imperfection, right? Okay. Maybe can you list some examples?
Okay.
Like, I'll give you a list. Like, maybe like clothes or furniture or
Yeah, or food or meals.
food. What other things do you buy? Okay, with clothes.
Como technology.
Okay, yeah, maybe like technology, like maybe like devices. You mean?
Yeah, or toys.
Toys. Okay. Okay, toys. Great. Do you buy toys? Do you buy toys at all?
No, but for my niece or my nephew.
Your niece or your nephew? Yeah, some people buy toys. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but like what are the words? Okay, so like if I buy a shirt or a t-shirt or a sweater or a coat or pants, what is the
Yeah.
imperfection? What is the imperfection of the clothes? Maybe there's a stain, right?
How do you say como un hoyo?
Yeah, well that's the thing, exactly. There's a discoloration, there's a stain,
Discoloration.
and there's maybe like a hole, right?
Or without buttons?
Missing a button, yeah. And then I was thinking about the stitching, like
Yeah, stitching.
the stitching when you put clothes together here, where the shirt combines, where the fabric combines, they stitch it, they sew it together, and
Yeah, I understand.
sometimes you have like bad stitching.
But stitching.
Yeah.
Yeah, stitching.
Okay. Well, I mean those are some reasons people complain. Other reasons, like you could return the shirt just like I don't like the color, or maybe it's too big or it's too small, or I don't like how I look. You could return things for many reasons, but if it's like an imperfection, if it's a defect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if something is defective, right? If something is defective, it doesn't work, right? Or it doesn't work. It has a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, can you read that for me for clothes?
Clothes, stain, discoloration.
Yeah.
A hole, missing a bottle, bad stitching.
Bad stitching.
Furniture.
Yeah. Oh, for the furniture is different. Okay. So, what are the imperfections for furniture? Like if you buy a sofa or if you buy a table, what could those be? What could the imperfections be? Maybe it could be a stain, right? Like if you buy a sofa and there's some discoloration, it could be a stain, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. It's difficult for me. How do you say como cajones cuando se atascan?
Drawers are stuck, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Or ugly painting.
Like an ugly color, but that's not a defect. Or maybe you're saying
irregular.
Irregular paint.
Paint.
Like an irregular paint job.
And how do you say como cuando las patas de un mueble están como desreguladas?
Uneven. Okay, all right. So, yeah, I know you're using Spanish, which we probably shouldn't use Spanish, but that's fine. I understand Spanish. Entiendo español. Hablo español. But yeah, it's okay. So like sometimes the legs are uneven, right? And the table wobbles because the legs are uneven, right? Sometimes at a cafe, the tables are uneven and I place napkins under the legs to make the table more stable. You know?
Yeah, and
because
I have
I hate
an
wobbly tables.
imperfection more.
Huh?
I have one more.
Wait, which one?
Como like cracks in the
Cracks.
furniture. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's
Okay, first up, clothes, right? You buy clothes online now a lot. You go to the store and you don't find everything. They don't have your size, they don't have the right color, they don't have the right garment, the right piece of clothing. So you order online like we do sometimes. And then it comes home, right? It gets delivered to your house, and maybe there's a stain, right? Or there's a hole, or there's bad stitching, right? What other things? Maybe it's the wrong shape, right? Maybe one side is too big. If you buy furniture, if you're, if you have a new house or a new apartment, maybe you need to buy furniture. Maybe you're redecorating, and you buy a table or you buy a sofa. Maybe the sofa has a stain, right? Has some discoloration on the sofa. Maybe the couch has a hole, the sofa has a hole in the fabric, right? And the upholstery. The upholstery is the fabric of the furniture. You also have upholstery in your car and the car seats. So it's the fabric of the seat. It's the fabric of the furniture that you buy, a chair or an armchair or a couch. A table, maybe a table has a scratch, right? It has a superficial line, a scratch on the top. If it has a crack, the table is broken, the piece of furniture is broken. So that's definitely a defect if it's cracked or broken. Sometimes the furniture is missing hardware. It's missing like a knob to open things. Like these closets have knobs to open. And maybe the missing hardware is hinge is missing. The hinge is the part that opens the door like this, right? I'll show pictures here. And maybe it's missing some other piece. Maybe some screw is missing, or some plastic piece. Okay. And if it's missing some plastic foot on the bottom, your table will be wobbly, right? Or your chair will be wobble, right? It's uneven, right? A table should be sturdy. It should be stable, right? It should not move, right? It should not dance around. It should not be wobbly. It should be sturdy. And let's see. So that's we've got the words right. Upholstery, right? Damaged upholstery, right? You have a hole or a stain, and maybe it's a missing hardware like the hinge or the knob, or a screw or a plastic piece, right? Like a little foot. And what else? There could be scratches on the surface, or maybe the paint is irregular. It's uneven paint. It's not regular paint. Or maybe it's, it's broken. Maybe it's cracked. Sometimes you buy technology. You could buy software. That's the program, right? You could buy an application, but that's a different thing. I'm talking about the hardware. We've used this word hardware for the furniture, but the hardware is like the physical technological device. So we talk about the devices, right? Like your laptop or your mobile phone or your tablet. If there's a defect, you have to use some phrasal verbs. Like some phrasal verbs are, it doesn't turn on, or it turns off automatically. It doesn't charge, or it doesn't charge up, right? And I think those are pretty much the biggest things, right? Like if you have a cell phone, like maybe like the screen is cracked or something, Hopefully that's not the case. And tech nowadays is impressive. Like it's very complex, very complicated, and it comes perfect in a box, right? And you expect it to be perfect, but yeah, there's no fixing a defect on a new phone or a new laptop. You return it immediately, right? Like maybe there's an imperfect corner of the screen. There's a chip on the screen. Hopefully, the store has no problem returning it. Maybe the screen is cracked, right? We talked about cracked with the furniture. It's broken, right? Or maybe sometimes the screen is shattered. It's completely broken, shattered. So there's a chip and a crack and shattered. Hopefully that never happens to me. Knock on wood. Sometimes these things happen. Knock on wood. And let's see. Now food. You buy food. You could buy food at a restaurant. You buy it at the supermarket. Yes. You could buy it at a restaurant. You could order from an app that delivers food to your home. So let's talk about food. The defects with food. Well, first of all, it could be stinky. Yeah, it doesn't smell good. It's stinky. It smells funny. Not funny like ha ha ha, but it smells funny like there's a problem, right? It smells curious. It smells dubious. It smells funny. Or maybe it's like it's too salty, right? Too salty is salt. Sodium chloride. Salty like bread is salty, not sweet. Maybe some bread is sweet. Cheese is salty generally, right? Pizza is salty generally. Sweet versus salty. Sweet like dessert, like cake, like pie. Salty like olives. Or if you order food and it's too much, it's orangey, it's orangish. It's the color orange, right? It's greasy, it's thick with grease. Like you order a pizza and the grease, the fat from it is just falling in its orange color. And all that oil is, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it depends on the night. Maybe you like that. But sometimes the food is too salty or it's too greasy or it's stinky. It smells funny, or maybe it just looks like old, right? Like maybe the food looks stale, like it's been there for a while, it's stale. Or hopefully not, but sometimes the food is spoiled, right? Spoiled is past the expiration date. Spoiled is the food is not in it's not in good state. It's decomposing, it's spoiling, it's spoiled, right? The next stage of decomposition is rotting, and that's trash. Rotting food is just it's disgusting. Sorry for the visuals, but it's an important piece of vocabulary, the complaining about imperfections and problems with products. So yeah, stinky, or maybe it smells funny, or maybe it looks funny. It looks strange. It looks curious. It looks dubious. It looks funny. It smells funny. It looks funny. Hopefully it tastes funny. Ugh. Yeah. So nothing to do about that except just never order at that restaurant maybe. And if you go to the supermarket, everything has an expiration date, because the problem with food is that it spoils. It goes bad. It rots. When food is spoiling, it is not good for consumption. It is not good for sale. You cannot sell spoiling food. So that's why you have an expiration date. And other things with it, with the food, maybe it's too greasy, it's too salty. But yeah, I mean, that's maybe that's a good thing. I like that kind of food sometimes. I'm looking at you, Mexican food in Southern California. So tasty. And what else? We had the clothing and the furniture and the technology and the food. More stuff on the page here. Thanks for watching. But yeah, hopefully this never happens to you, but it might, right? It's better to know how to describe it. Anyways, lots of interesting vocabulary. I'll see you in class.